welcome. This is Nourish Me TV, and today we're making a radiance menu. And a radiance menu means that it's gluten-free, sugar-free, and dairy-free, and it's whole, real, delicious food that is easy, quick, fewer than 5 ingredients in each one of these items, and it will be food that you can have ready to go for the week. Welcome to my channel. This is Nourish Me TV. My name is Steph. I'm a holistic health coach, and here on this channel you're going to find healthy, clean recipes, but we're also going to make family dinner recipes, and we're also going to make some fun weekend menus along the way. But mostly I want to help you eat real healthy food. I want you to help you manage your stress and anxiety around eating healthy food, and I know you want to get good food on the table for your family. The third piece is that I want you to feel amazing and radiant in your body and your mind. I want you to have more energy, and I want you to feel good. And the way that we can start doing that today is by eating real food. It's that simple, and I'm going to show you how easy it can be. Today we're going to make some turkey meatballs that you can use in a couple of different meals. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to do some roasted sweet potatoes, a beautiful quinoa salad, and some fresh herbs, and then just some simple steamed broccoli to bring it all together. So let's begin by getting the sweet potatoes in the oven. I've got the oven turned on to 375. By the way, while we're cooking here, the other thing that I really want to share with you is the importance of not only what you're eating, but how and when you're eating. So I have friends and clients who tell me all the time that they are eating standing up and that they're busy and they're eating on the run or they're skipping meals. Let me just tell you, if you want more energy and you want to feel better in the afternoons and have fewer cravings, you're going to make time for lunch. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about that here in just a few minutes, because like I said, when you're eating, lunchtime is when your digestion is actually the strongest. Just think the sun is high up in the sky, fire in the sky, fire in your belly, and that's when your digestion is raring to go. And that makes total sense because you want to have most of your energy for the afternoon. And the afternoon is a lot of times when you're busiest and when you need to keep going. And if you're not fueling your body with real food, then it's really hard to have enough energy to do all the things you want to do. So I've got my sweet potato peeled. Now be careful on this first cut because it's a really awkward shape, but I'm using just a simple knife here. You know what? The other cool trick about being in the kitchen is finding one knife that you really like to use that works well for you and fits nicely in your hand. This is a very all-purpose knife. I love it. I use it for a lot of things. So I'm just gonna put it here on the top of my sweet potato and then push down at the front and then just kind of push down through the back. And now you have a flat surface to work with. So that's kind of nice because now it's much easier to chop it up. And I'm gonna chop it kind of into small bite-size-ish pieces for this time because I want it to go into our quinoa salad. And we can also save some sweet potato for on the side as well so that you have that to throw into any meal. If you want to make it into a dinner meal, you want to have a little bit of sweet potato as your side. Why don't we talk about carbs? Let's talk about carbohydrates while we're at it. Carbohydrates are good for your brain and they're also good for energy. So if you're doing a low carbohydrate diet, you're gonna find yourself low on energy pretty easily. And especially when you first try to switch into that. Now, if you're used to not eating that many carbs, you might be surprised when you start adding in slow burning carbs, the kind of energy it gives you. So just give it a try. Don't be afraid of carbohydrates, especially sweet potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes with, they're a beautiful source of fiber and they help you detoxify. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit more, but for right now, don't be afraid of sweet potatoes. So all I did was chop them up. You saw how quick and easy that was. I put some olive oil on there and a little bit of pink salt. And this is just a nice little spa for your hands. And we're gonna put those in the oven. Okay, the next thing I wanna get going is the turkey meatballs. And I use ground turkey, obviously. I really do like the ground turkey at Costco. Just the fat content is good and it stays really nice and moist, and these make really delicious turkey burgers or turkey meatballs or ground turkey for a breakfast sandwich, whatever you might want to do. I'm just adding a little bit of granulated garlic. These recipes are so easy, and you can make delicious stuff for you and your family that has a lot of nice flavor with very little ingredients and very little work. You'll see how quickly this comes together. This is an Italian seasoning, just a dried Italian seasoning. I'm gonna put just a little bit of lemon pepper. That will give it a nice little zip, a little bit of spice and a little bit of tang. And then Worcestershire sauce, just a little bit of few shakes of that too. And I might put just a little bit of pepper. I'm not gonna add any salt right now because there's gonna be salt in other parts of the meal. So I'm gonna let the salt do its thing later on. So that's it, less than 5 ingredients, a couple of dried spices. I don't even put an egg in there. I don't put breadcrumbs in there. You could certainly add some panko breadcrumbs if you wanted to, but I'm just gonna mix this up in the bowl. I got my Oura ring, it's getting all gross and dirty. I'm gonna take that off in just a second. But just a really simple, quick, mix that ground turkey up with all of the spices. And I'm gonna use a scooper. This is kind of helpful and also keep my hands cleaner. But use a scooper, and I don't go crazy over handling the turkey because it is, you know, a very tender, ground turkey is very tender, and you don't want to have to mess with it too much. Plus, since I didn't put the egg and the breadcrumbs in there, it's not like it's going to hold together super well. So I just make it really simple by using a scooper. Of course, you can just use a spoon and just scoop these out with a spoon. You can also make them a lot bigger if you want. And then these will go into the oven. Okay, we have our sweet potatoes in the oven roasting up, and we have the turkey meatball tray roasting up, and now I want to get started on some quinoa. So quinoa, let's talk about protein really quick. You may be hearing a lot about the importance of eating more protein and for women's health and to build muscle, and yes, this is all really true. However, you want to make sure you're digesting the protein, especially if it's animal protein. And then quinoa also is a vegetarian vegan grain that also is high in protein. So we're gonna add some quinoa to our menu today to get a little extra burst of protein. So I did a half a cup of quinoa, and I'm going to add 1 cup of water. And quinoa is super easy to make. It's quick, it's fast, it's hard to mess it up, but it's really good mixed in with lots of other stuff. So I'm gonna put this on the stovetop. I'm gonna put it on high heat for the first couple minutes until it comes to a boil, and then I'm gonna reduce it down to low and let it cook for about 10 to 12 minutes. And quinoa, so delicious, especially when you mix it up with a whole bunch of other stuff. I have dinosaur kale here that I'm going to add to our quinoa salad, and I'm just going to peel it right off the stem here. And you can absolutely eat the stem if you want. It's a little bit crunchy and chewy, and it has a little bit more of that bitter taste, which we need the bitter taste in our diet. Let me just tell you that the bitter taste is very important, but for our purposes today, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the stems out. If you like to green juice, you could absolutely add these stems to your green juice. They will not make your juice bitter. It will taste delicious and give it another little level of that fresh taste. So I set my timer for the quinoa. I set it for 12 minutes. And then once that 12 minutes is up, we're just gonna leave it covered and let it sit for a few minutes more. I also started a little pot of hot water to boil for broccoli. I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh broccoli to our plate. So it's really great. The more vegetables you can get in, fiber is incredibly important. We're talking about all this protein and getting all this protein in, but we're forgetting that we need the fiber to keep things moving, to keep cleansing your colon, to keep your digestion strong, and to keep the microbiome in your gut healthy at healthy levels. It needs fiber to make everything work properly. So we're gonna start adding more and more fiber to our menu every day. So I've got the kale in here. I've got it broken up into pretty good sized small pieces. And then I'm going to add a little olive oil and just get this kind of started in the pre-cooking process. You may have heard that kale likes to be massaged. And so the reason that is because kale is a very hearty raw vegetable, and you want to give it a little bit of a jump start for your digestion. So massaging it in a little bit of olive oil starts to break down so that the nutrition is more available to you when you're ready to eat. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so I do like to chop up some of the stem of the broccoli as well, especially since it's all gonna go together in this quinoa salad. So we're gonna have lots of vegetables, lots of greens, and I just keep chopping the stem until I get to the little florets here, and then you can just easily make little broccoli florets so that you can have the perfect little bite-sized piece. Okay, I'm gonna drop this into the water, let it steam for about 5 minutes or so till it's bright green and it's perfectly al dente. Beautiful fiber, beautiful cruciferous vegetable for your beautiful healthy microbiome. I wanted to pop in while everything's cooking here and give you my 2 top tips for increasing your digestion and feeling like you're eating the right amount of food and so you can have more energy. So here's my 2 top tips. I call these the circles of digestion, the circles of healthy energy. So this one is a circle divided into half and then into 2 quarters. What you want to do is you want to try to have half of your plate with vegetables every meal if possible, even breakfast. Half your plate with veggies. And then remember earlier we talked about carbohydrates, how important they are for energy, especially at lunchtime when you need energy for your busy afternoon. So a quarter carbohydrates, and then the last quarter is, guess what? Protein, of course. So a quarter protein. You want to have protein, fat, and fiber, and lots of veggies with every meal. If you wanted to, we could add a small little circle here in the middle, and that would represent our healthy fats like olive oil or coconut oil or even sesame oil, butter, ghee, grass-fed butter especially. So half your plate with veggies. I think that's the challenge that most of us come up against, is not getting enough vegetables into our meal. So anytime you can, look at your beautiful plate that you've made. See if you can put half of the amount of vegetables. This circle has 3 sections on it. You wanna have 1/3 of your stomach. Okay, so this is your circle that is representing your stomach. So your actual physical stomach when you're eating food. You want your digestive fire to be strong, so you want to put the right amount of food and stuff into your belly. So let's consider this is your belly. You want 1/3 of the food that you're eating, and then you want 1/3 to be air. So that means we don't eat too much, and then 1/3 water. Now just think here of a laundry machine. You want room for the clothes to tumble around. You want it to have the right amount of water and soap, but you also want to have enough room, so you want to have enough air for everything to tumble and get clean. So it's the same thing with the food in your stomach. And you'll know this when you are slowing down and sitting down when you eat. You'll know when you've had the perfect amount. Now you don't want to gulp a bunch of water. We'll talk about this in another video, but you just want to sip water with your meals. You want to have your food be the perfect amount, and then you want to have air so everything can tumble. You'll have exactly 1 burp. This is the right proportions. So just kind of slow down a little bit when you're eating and sit down when you're eating. Pay attention to your food and see if you notice that 1 burp message that you have eaten the perfect amount. Let's check on our food and see if everything's ready, and we'll pull this whole menu together. Okay, we are bringing our meal all together. This beautiful meal with lots of vegetables, all fresh, real food, of course. Good for your belly, good for your energy, good for your hormones, good for balancing blood sugar. The last couple of things I want to do here are chop up some fresh basil, and I'm using my handy knife again. And again, do not worry about it being perfect. I'm just gonna kind of do a rough chop here. The basil smells absolutely amazing. Delicious. Fresh herbs are always a great way to add flavor and brightness to your menus. Okay, fresh basil. And then I have my kale here that we massaged a little bit earlier. The quinoa's ready. I'm just gonna put the quinoa right on top of the kale. It's hot, so it's gonna cook the kale a little bit. So we're gonna add the quinoa and just kind of let that be on top of the kale here for a moment while we're bringing everything together. I'm gonna go ahead and put this fresh basil right in there on top. Yummy, delicious. Always be careful with your knife. And then I cut a lemon in half. I'm gonna add a little lemon juice here with my little lemon squeezer. We put a little bit of olive oil on the kale at the beginning. I'm just gonna put a little more olive oil on now. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, and this is just pink Himalayan salt. Let's add a little bit of cracked pepper. And then I'm going to add our chopped sweet potatoes. And this is cooled off enough that I can handle it now. But you can, now you have this tray of sweet potatoes. Of course, you could do like 2 or 3 sweet potatoes so that you have extra for the next couple of days. But I'm gonna go ahead and put these sweet potatoes right into my quinoa salad, quinoa and kale salad, and stir this up. Oh my gosh, yum. This is amazing, bright and beautiful. Okay, and so it's not like super crazy heavy on the quinoa. So you can kind of see that it's a lot of vegetables and then just enough quinoa to give it that nice texture, and the really delicious vegetables to give quinoa some texture. So, and the flavor will just be so yummy. Now you could, I steamed some broccoli, and in case you don't know, to steam broccoli, just make it really simple. Don't leave out your cute little stems. I just put about 1 inch of water in, and then I brought the water to a boil, put the broccoli in, let it steam. It varies. It takes, you know, usually anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 minutes, but you want it to be this beautiful bright green. I'll show you here in just a second. Okay, so let's make a beautiful plate for our meal, and we are going to remember that we want half of our plate with vegetables, and this quinoa and the sweet potato is going to count as our carbohydrate too. And so we've got a lot of yummy vegetables on there. Now, you know, the other tip that I can give you, and I think I said this earlier actually, is make your lunch your biggest meal. So if you have a big salad, a big cooked vegetable salad of some kind, that's going to give you some energy. And like I said, your digestion is strongest at lunchtime. So this is when you want to get most of your nutrition in so that you have lots of energy. I'm just gonna put the broccoli on the side for today, and I'm not gonna add anything to the broccoli even because we have so much flavor in the kale sweet potato salad. Okay, so now we have our turkey meatballs, and they look really yummy, and they are perfectly cooked. Another thing that people don't like cooking is because they find that their meat comes out dry. You're probably just overcooking it. You might be cooking it for too long. So don't be afraid to cook it just a little bit less and then let it finish rolling and cooking on the pan. Because sometimes we you know, cook it too long and then it doesn't taste good, and then we get discouraged and we don't want to cook anymore. So don't do that. Just keep experimenting and keep trying. So I'm gonna put, so these are probably about 1 ounce meatballs, I would say. I'm gonna put 4 or 5 meatballs on there. So this looks like a big plate for lunch, but you guys, it's got all of the elements and all of the pieces, and it is delicious and super nutritious and will give you energy for the whole day. Now, if you like this kind of food and you want to hang out with me more, please make sure and subscribe to my channel. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up so that we can reach more people and make more friends in the kitchen. And if you're interested in more of cooking, how, when, and what to eat, I have an online program called Radiance Reset. I walk you through exactly how to add more healthy, clean food into your life so that you have more energy, you're in a better mood, you reduce cravings, you're not quite as bloated, your skin can feel shiny and radiant, and you just all in all reduce stress and anxiety in your life because you're nourishing your life. So thank you so much for being here with me today, and I'll see you next time.